Hey everyone, and welcome back to Good English. Today, we're tackling a topic: the inhumane treatment some ESL teachers face. Now, teaching English as a second language can be incredibly rewarding, but behind those success stories, there's a darker side to the profession that we don't often hear about. From wage theft and crushing workloads to precarious living conditions and outright discrimination, these issues paint a stark picture of the challenges many ESL educators face every day. By understanding these issues, we can start advocating for better treatment and support for these dedicated teachers who work tirelessly to connect us all through language. Let's get started. Okay, let's talk about something nobody really enjoys discussing: money. Specifically, the lack of it. One of the most terrifying realities for many ESL teachers, especially those working abroad, is the very real risk of not getting paid for their hard work. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into your students, spending hours crafting engaging lessons and grading assignments, only to find out that your paycheck is delayed again. Or worse, it never arrives at all. ESL teacher. Sadly, this exploitation often happens in countries where labor laws aren't as robust or enforced, leaving teachers vulnerable to unscrupulous employers. Some schools might exploit their teachers' visa situations, knowing they're hesitant to speak up for fear of jeopardizing their legal status. Thankfully, many schools and organizations value their staff and prioritize fair compensation. But the unfortunate reality is that wage theft remains a serious issue within the industry. ESL teacher. 1. So what can be done? Greater transparency and accountability within the ESL industry are crucial. Teachers need to be empowered to speak out against unfair practices without fear of retribution. Governments need to strengthen labor laws and enforcement mechanisms, while schools and institutions must prioritize ethical hiring practices and fair compensation. By working together, we can create a system where ESL teachers feel valued, respected, and financially secure.
Please, at this point, if you have not subscribed, make it a point to subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend so that all of them can subscribe and join the family.
All right, let's be real. Teaching is no walk in the park. It's demanding, it's exhausting, and it requires an immense amount of passion and dedication. But for many ESL teachers, the workload goes far beyond what's considered reasonable or sustainable. ESL teacher 2. Picture this: you're juggling a dozen different classes each week, each with its own unique set of needs and challenges. You're prepping lessons late into the night, grading mountains of homework, and constantly adapting your teaching style to accommodate students from diverse linguistic backgrounds. This relentless workload can take a serious toll on teachers' mental and physical health. Burnout, stress, and compassion fatigue are all too common in the profession. ESL teacher 2. The unique challenges of ESL teaching often amplify the workload. Imagine having to design lessons for students who are still learning the basics of English grammar while simultaneously trying to teach them complex literary concepts or historical events. So how can we address this issue? Schools and institutions need to prioritize reasonable class sizes, provide ample planning time, and offer professional development opportunities that equip teachers with the tools and strategies they need to manage their workloads effectively. Remember, investing in the well-being of ESL teachers is an investment in the success of their students. By creating a more supportive and sustainable work environment, we can empower teachers to thrive in their roles and help their students reach their full potential.
Let's talk about job security, or rather, the lack thereof, which is a constant source of anxiety for many ESL teachers. Imagine this: You finally landed your dream job teaching abroad. But just as you're starting to settle in, you get hit with a wave of uncertainty. Your contract is up for renewal, and there's no guarantee you'll be invited back.
This lack of job security is a pervasive issue in the ESL world, especially for those on temporary contracts. Teachers often hop from one short-term gig to the next, never knowing where they'll end up.
Imagine trying to build a life when you don't know if you'll be in the same city or even the same country next year.
Governments and institutions need to recognize ESL teachers' contributions and create stable employment pathways. It's time to prioritize job security in the ESL world for both teachers and learners.
Okay, let's talk about something we all need: a safe and comfortable place to call home. But for some ESL teachers, especially those working abroad, finding decent housing can feel like an uphill battle. Imagine arriving in a new country, full of excitement and anticipation, only to discover that your accommodation is far from what you were promised. Instead of the cozy apartment overlooking a bustling city street, you find yourself crammed into a tiny run-down room, sharing a bathroom with strangers and battling a constant chorus of unfamiliar noises.
Sadly, these scenarios are not uncommon in the ESL world. Some schools, particularly those operating on shoestring budgets or in less regulated regions, might cut corners when it comes to teacher housing.
Imagine trying to prepare engaging lessons, grade assignments, and be emotionally present for your students when you're constantly worried about leaky roofs, malfunctioning appliances, or even personal safety.
So, how do we address this issue? Schools and organizations need to be upfront about their housing arrangements, providing clear and accurate information to prospective teachers. They should also prioritize regular inspections and maintenance of teacher accommodation to ensure it meets basic standards of safety, hygiene, and habitability. Providing teachers with support networks and resources such as local housing forums or advocacy groups can empower them to navigate challenges and advocate for their own needs. It's time we ensure that ESL teachers who dedicate their lives to connecting us through language are no exception.
Let's talk about something that's often subtle, yet incredibly pervasive: discrimination. While the ESL world is often perceived as a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds, the reality is that many teachers, especially those working abroad, face prejudice and bias based on their nationality, ethnicity, gender, or even age. Imagine being passed over for a promotion or given less desirable teaching assignments simply because of where you're from or the color of your skin.
Many ESL teachers also experience a profound sense of cultural isolation, feeling like outsiders in their own workplaces and communities. Imagine struggling to navigate social cues, cultural norms, or even just basic communication in a foreign language.
Now, it's important to acknowledge that not all ESL teachers experience these challenges to the same extent. Many find themselves welcomed into supportive and inclusive communities where they feel valued and respected for their contributions.
So, how do we break down these invisible walls? It starts with fostering a culture of inclusivity and respect within schools and organizations. This means implementing diversity and inclusion training, promoting open dialogue about cultural differences, and creating opportunities for intercultural exchange and understanding. By creating a more equitable and welcoming environment for all, we can help ensure that ESL teachers feel valued, respected, and supported, regardless of their background or identity. It's time we prioritize inclusivity in the ESL world. As we've seen, the ESL world is filled with passionate, dedicated educators who work tirelessly to break down language barriers and connect us all through the power of communication. But behind those success stories, there's often a darker side, a reality marked by inhumane treatment, exploitation, and a lack of basic respect and dignity. From wage theft and crushing workloads to inadequate living conditions and pervasive discrimination, these issues highlight the urgent need for better protection support systems and a fundamental shift in how we value and treat ESL teachers. By creating a more equitable, just, and supportive environment for ESL teachers, we can empower them to thrive in their roles and continue to inspire countless learners around the world. If you found this video eye-opening and want to see more content like this, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.